Hi,
Right.
good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are, and I'm Dr. Sridhar. I mean, you might be familiar with my channel. Today, we have a very interesting session and a new topic. Obviously, I've covered careers in a different level. I mean, working in UAE, for example, or working in UK. But here we have with us a very young budding doctor, Dr. Karthik Saravanan. I mean, he's fifth year medical student at Oxford. And Karthik, I would like you to introduce yourself and then we will proceed. Today, we are going to discuss about getting your children ready for medical training or yourself if you are the student, how to enter medical training in UK. So over to you, Karthik. Please introduce yourself.
Pleasure to meet you, Dr. Shrida. I am currently in my fifth year of medical school, so I have one more year left of my study, and I'm in my penultimate year leading up to finals.
And can you tell me your new venture, what you're starting off?
Yes, yeah. So I have personally been doing tutoring for medical admissions for the past 5 years, and I've got around 500 hours worth of total experience with helping various different people from different stages applying towards UK medical schools, whether they are home applicants, international applicants, or whether they are preparing for admissions tests or personal statements or interviews, or for Oxford or Cambridge specifically, that kind of admissions process. I've got a lot of experience and a lot of um, years worth of my own stylistic development that I've had through my own tutoring that I've done for other companies. So the only constraints that I've noticed though is that if I have other company resources, other company teaching methods or styles, I have to often adhere to those kinds of principles. So I thought maybe now it's time to use my expertise to give my own personalized, tailored services based upon the years of experience which I have garnered through my own tutoring, which is why I'm very, very pleased to announce that I have founded a brand new tutoring company called Trinity Scholars, which I've co-founded with a couple of other of my talented partners, Aparna and Aditya, who are both medical students at Oxford and Cambridge as well, and both very, very intelligent, not only, but also highly experienced. And I'm very, very excited to start this adventure together with them.
That's amazing. I mean, all the best to you and in your new venture with your colleagues as well. So, just a quick, update on why you think medicine is still a good option. Can you share your thoughts and then I'll share mine as well?
Yes, I think medicine in the UK has become a very, very controversial topic with the amount of different things that have been mentioned with junior doctor strikes and with various different problems that they have with the government and doctors in the UK. But I think despite these challenges, medicine as a career is very, very fulfilling for a very large number of aspects. First and foremost, I think it's because medicine is so broad. It allows you to explore your full creativity and it allows you to reach whatever you desire in terms of your specific goals and your specific progression without restricting you to a specific area. For example, if you go into a corporate sector or a law sector, often you're kind of very, very subspecialized very early on, and you're very, very restricted in your career in terms of growth and progression within a very short time frame. Medicine, on the other hand, it allows you lots of time to develop and grow as a person and challenge yourself. And it's very, very broad with such a huge spectrum of different subspecialities. So it allows you to branch out into several different niches. And I think a very good thing that medicine also allows is it doesn't confine you to just your clinical work. It also opens the doors to several other opportunities, such as academic research. In my particular interest is artificial intelligence and AI research. So that kind of aspect of medicine also allows me to still reach within my technological expertise and that kind of side and still give me growth and aspects of opportunity in that. And equally as well, the people that you work with can also come from a large diversity of backgrounds, and you end up working with several different people who can enlighten you and give you their own experiences and perspectives, which can help you improve your own personal growth and journey as a person.
That's amazing. Well summarized. I mean, I personally am a neonatologist. My wife is a pediatric endocrinologist, and both my kids are in medical university. And as I can see, your dad is a doctor as well, a surgeon, and your sister is in medical school. So we have a lot of people in the medical background, and we had a thought process whether we should discourage our kids from joining medicine or not. But as you said, it's diverse. It's a good specialty to start with, and then you can build up on what interests you. Of course, the people who choose engineering as a career may or may not continue the work in the same field. Many of them go into marketing or management, and they do start earning earlier. But I think career job security, career stability is more with medicine, and We are here because we are good students, basically. And I mean, it's a disadvantage in a way that you need to keep upskilling yourself, keep updating yourself. It's evidence-based medicine we are practicing. So our learning never really stops. But because we like learning, that's why we are here as well. So you have to build on that. And I don't think if you or your ward wants to do medicine, there is any reason to discourage them. And from that perspective, I mean, coming on to the main point of parents who are watching this, or most of my audience will be parents, but it might be shared with the students as well. So we'll address both of them. How would you describe the steps that are needed? I mean, obviously, we have international students and we have the UK trained. At the moment, we'll focus on the UK trained or the students overseas who are doing the UK curriculum. Slight differences will be there according to which curriculum you do. But do you want to just give a brief overview of what are the steps involved in entering the medical training in UK?
Yeah. So I think in terms of steps applying to medicine, there is a system in the UK called UCAS, which is kind of a universal portal through which you can apply to any university within the UK. And that is the kind of main avenue through which you will have to apply to any medical school in the UK. And a UCAS application contains several stages. The first of which is a personal statement. And in this personal statement, it's recently just changed its format so that there are now three separate subheadings where you talk about why you want to study your course, what experiences you have, and why you believe you'd be a good fit for the course. But the total kind of character limit is around 4,000 characters, which is not particularly long. It's about 500 odd words. And it's pretty much the first aspect of any kind of application to medical school or medical university is selling yourself as much as you possibly can in this personal statement. And my general advice would be to make yourself stand out, bring your own unique experiences and backstory into it, and that can help you shine compared to other candidates who may write some things that are a bit more generic, which you might see a bit more commonly across different things. Because often people see personal statements as a tick box exercise where examiners are looking for certain stock phrases and certain keywords. But I think having individuality and your own twist is what makes you more unique in that sense. Once you've written your personal statement, you've submitted that to universities, you will then have to sit admissions tests. Um, so Oxford and Cambridge for medicine now, they've recently just moved to an admissions test called the UCAT, and all of the other medical schools in the UK also use the UCAT. The UCAT is the Universal Clinical Aptitude Test, and it's now split into four sections, which tests things like quantitative reasoning, so quick math and arithmetic, verbal reasoning, which is more to do with reading comprehension and literacy skills. It also tests situational judgment, so ethical reasoning, awareness in terms of professionalism and guidelines as a doctor, and it lastly also tests your decision making, which is more kind of logic oriented and kind of IQ test style puzzles, which test your kind of logical thought process and thinking ability. And once you've sat this admissions test, if you score within the kind of top 10 or 20% of test takers, usually that gives you a fairly realistic shot of getting an interview at medical school after that. And interviews typically take place in one of two formats, depending on the university you apply to. The majority of medical schools take the format of a multiple mini interview, or MMI for short. So if you see the acronym, that's what it means, where it's kind of meant to represent how doctors are examined in the real world, where you will have a very short station, if you will, and in each station they're about 5 or 6 minutes long, where you'll get asked kind of two or three different questions about a specific niche. For example, in one station you might be asked about your motivation for medicine and why you want to study the course. There may be other stations related to ethical scenarios and medical professionalism scenarios. There may be other stations which ask you about your work experience or any kind of voluntary experience that you may have. Others might test your ability on team building or data analysis or calculations, but across these kind of multiple mini interviews, you'll typically have about between 5 to 10 stations, and they'll be roughly about 5 to 6 minutes each. Um, Oxford and Cambridge, on the other hand, those medical schools have a very different interview style and interview approach because their course structure is very much based around scientific learning, and it has a very, very heavy aspect on academic research. So, what Oxford and Cambridge are looking for from their prospective students and their prospective graduates is a scientific thinking style. And what they more tend to test you on is putting you on the spot in unfamiliar scenarios and trying to simulate a tutorial environment where you'll be in a panel room with yourself and maybe one or two different tutors, and it will just be a 20-minute interview roughly, and they will stretch you on things like unfamiliar experiments which you've never necessarily studied before, and seeing whether or not you can cope with new information, logical thinking, thinking out loud, processing your thoughts, and describing unfamiliar calculations or maybe data analysis, or stretching you in maybe more complex, difficult ethical scenarios and more abstract thought debates, which maybe, again, stretch you above your comfort zone and make you think about things that you wouldn't normally think about. And it's basically trying to more see if you fit within their tutorial system rather than trying to test your knowledge per se as a candidate.
It's amazing. I mean, in terms of the candidate's choice, I mean, you have to weigh your options. I think you're allowed to apply for 4 colleges and 4 universities plus one non-medical course, allied specialty, as well as a fifth choice. And if you choose Cambridge or Oxford, you can choose either of them. And previously, we used to have what we described as a BMAT exam separate for Cambridge and Oxford, and that was a separate application. But now it's the same application, and obviously within those 4 colleges, you can apply for either Cambridge or Oxford, and the other 3 will be according to your choice as well, and the region that you choose. The competition is different, the interview styles are different, and obviously your company is going to help them right from the application stage. So when exactly do you think you would start, or the parents or the students should start reaching out to your team? And can you describe what are the different aspects that you'd be helping with in brief summary?
Certainly, yeah. So if you are a prospective student, I should say, in year 12, so that's kind of nearing the end of your schooling in the UK, and it's the penultimate year of your education just before you sit your A-level exams. That's around the time when you'll be applying to UCAS. So maybe 2 or 3 months beforehand, say in around June, July time, in that summer period before you start year 13, or when you've just kind of reached the end of year 12, that I would probably say is the best time to kind of begin your preparation for medical school. And I think that's probably the best time to start preparing things like your UCAT examination and preparing things like writing a draft for your personal statement. And so, what we would offer is we have separate kind of packages through which we can assist you with various different stages of the medical school admissions process or the entirety of the process throughout. So for example, if you just wanted UCAT tutoring, if you just wanted support specifically with your admissions test, we can give you targeted preparation towards that. If you wanted kind of continued mentoring as well with one-to-one support from the same tutor throughout or from any of our team who are mostly based with specialist experience in Oxford and Cambridge medical schools, then we can give you support right from the UCAT itself to then writing your personal statement, continuing on through to doing preparation for things like the scientific interview, especially for Oxford and Cambridge, and also for the kind of broader scale MMI interviewing for any other medical schools that you've applied for.
That's amazing. And how do you think joining, I mean, or registering with your team would be different from a regular company, for example, who's offering the same?
I think the main thing for us is our backgrounds and our unique expertise that we bring to the table. There are several other companies that you are correct in pointing out have done this for maybe longer than us and maybe have done this to a larger scale than us. But I think what I believe in is rather than trying to create something that is going to be on a large mass scale, I think it's more about creating something that is tailored towards the individual needs of a student because I think the best tutoring companies and the best way to teach somebody is to understand what your kind of pupil needs and to cater towards that. And I think the personalization of our services and the individual expertise that each and every single one of our tutors bring, especially from our founding team, all of us are extremely experienced with Oxford and Cambridge. And the one-to-one style of tutoring that I've kind of handpicked in all of my tutors is all based around catering towards the individual needs of a student. And rather than creating a generic model and creating a generic form of preparation to make everybody kind of to a good standard. It's about bringing out the best qualities in each and every single one of our students and bringing out what makes them unique. I think that's the key.
So, I mean, if I summarize it, ideal to start a couple of years before, once you make the choice that you want to do medicine, you can be flexible with which universities you apply, maybe based on your UCAT score, even if you think you'll meet the cutoff. But you have certain things to fill on your CV, like attachment or shadowing to show a specific interest or a project that you do as part of your school uh, competencies as well. So, I mean, you have to start planning maybe a couple of years ahead and get some one, 2 or 3 attachments wherever you can with shadowing other colleagues or doctors. And personal statement planning is important. So it helps you to start early. And obviously, you have different options. Will you be guiding them on how to prepare for the UCAT at the same time as well? I mean, the material
Yes,
they have to
so
guide
even
you
at
for.
an earlier stage, as you mentioned, yes, the medical school admissions process with the personal statement, UCAT, etc., that starts when you're towards the end of your schooling. But you're quite right in saying that preparation for medical school has to begin earlier than that, and getting experience with work experience or with voluntary experience or with any kind of academic projects or your own clinical research, which you may be interested in. Those are things that you should try and involve yourself in 1 or 2 years before you even consider applying for medical school. And we do also offer kind of tuition services or like one-to-one coaching for people who just generally want some information on the admissions process and what kind of projects to do, where to seek the right experiences, what kind of experience to seek, and how to best utilize that experience towards gaining medical school admission. So we also offer those kinds of preparatory resources for people that are earlier on in their career
I
thinking of
think
applying
you
to
have an
medicine and they're not sure
advantage
where to
that
begin.
Aparna and Aditya have trained internationally and they have the exposure to doing shadowing or clinical attachments outside the UK as well as in UK, while you have been in UK all through. So we have a balanced approach, and the tutors that you're recruiting as well would have a varied background. So as you said, I mean, they may be able to continue with the same tutor if they like, or they can have a mixed experience for interview, for example, having a flavor, I mean, exposure to different styles of interviewing, because MMI stations would have different interviewers and the thought process may not be the same, and even you yourself may respond differently to different interviewers. So, uh, just to summarize the whole discussion, obviously, medicine as a career is very good still. And if you have a liking to biological sciences, there is no harm in taking medicine as one of your career options. You have a lot of stress towards the end of your school years, so you have a lot of commitments related to the school performance, and the school marks do count. So you have to think ahead and plan for these additional preparations to gel it well with your routine and not to put stress on yourself. You're already going to be facing a very stressful time. And in terms of preparing a couple of years ahead of time, planning it and making your CV or the personal statement suitable for a good university place is important. Once you get the UCAT exam scores and you apply for the universities of your choice, you face the interviews. Hopefully, you'll be selected for the interview stage. And again, you may have to fine tune the preparation according to which university you're going to. There are specifics, and you may be facing 2 or 3 different interview styles in the university choices you have. That's one of the things that these team, I mean, they may be able to guide you in choosing the right university. So there is not too much of a difference. If it all fits your bill, you can select universities which have similar interview pattern. But of course, it's your choice as well. And all these will help you plan. And of course, when it comes to international students, the cost of education in UK is high as well. And you need to look at, if you are a British citizen, you may be eligible for uh, international or local fees according to the situation. It's now becoming very tough to get local fees if you're training more than the last 3 years of your schooling outside the UK, but you have to be prepared for that. And certain universities like Cambridge are very expensive, while Oxford and other universities have like 35 to 40,000 per year range. So you have to be thinking about the expenses, living expenses, and all that as well. And as these guys are already in UK, they may be able to guide you on the university fees and the cost involved in the living, and also some general guide if you're living overseas. And I guess most of the students who may be interested right now would be the overseas students, given that I mean, you have the exposure to both aspects as well. Let's hope that your company becomes a successful one. And do you want to add anything before we close?
No, just thanks very much for giving me the opportunity to speak to you today, Dr. Sridhar. It was a pleasure having me on your channel. It was a pleasure for you to have me on your channel, sorry. Um, and yeah, I hope that the services that we provide are going to be helpful for many other prospective medical students and professional doctors in the future. And I'm very, very excited towards working with Aditya and Aparna to create something that's very, very unique and very, very special together.
And I
I'm
mean, do you
sure
want to
their
say anything for
expertise.
prospective tutors as well? I mean, if anyone is interested in joining your team, I'll be sharing your website links and possibly your email and the video info. So if anyone is interested, please get in touch with any of them. And do you have anything to say about prospective tutors? Do you still have vacancies or?
Yes, of course. I mean, we're always interested in recruiting talent towards our company, and I believe that if you are somebody who is passionate about teaching and passionate about catering towards your individual students' needs, then we will always have room to accommodate anybody that might be enthusiastic or keen to join our team. And I think one of our main ethos and philosophies as somebody who has been a personal tutor for a while now is to also make sure that our tutors are treated fairly and given the respect that they deserve, and that we are not burdening you with too much additional workload or additional administration work. So I think if you are considering working for a company that values you and a company that respects your time, your scheduling, and caters your around your personal availability and flexibility, then I think we could be a good fit for you.
And a fairer share of the payment, if I understand.
Yes, yeah, yeah. I think payment, especially, is not necessarily something that I want to kind of talk about greatly with my experience with other companies. But typically, yeah, you're right in saying that most other tutoring companies would probably pay me somewhere around like 25% of what they charge the student. But in our case, we're giving our tutors a much fairer split than that, which is not far off a 50-50 split
I think
in
it's a
our
lot of
case. And
hard
we
work
really,
given that you're already working in medical schools and your students yourself.
yeah.
So, good luck for your final couple of years in Oxford Medical School and for your foundation training. And I understand you want to be a surgeon, orthopedic surgeon as you go on.
I think that's my main interest. Yeah, I think it marries quite nicely with my interest in computer vision and artificial intelligence with the amount of radiographic images they use. And for the future scope of robotics in their career, since it's still in its early stages, I think maybe pioneering that kind of research could be something that I'm quite interested in as well. So,
Excellent,
yeah, as
very
I was saying, it
interesting.
allows me to branch out.
Thank
Yeah,
you. Thank you for sparing the time, Karthik, and good luck
thank you.
to all of you on this. Best wishes. Take care.
Thanks very much for having me on your channel, Dr. Sridhar.
Thank
I
you.
really appreciate your time.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.